Did you know that Guggul boosts immune function and fights bacteria infections? Specifically, you're about to learn two specific bacterial infections it works against, and this is very important for current news in America today. Guggul can also help treat urinary disorders, UTIs. In one study, men with an enlarged prostate who experienced painful or difficult urination, urinary retention, and excessive urination saw a reduction in their symptoms after taking Guggul. In fact, Guggul is said to help boost your white blood cell count, which is your antibodies to kill infections. Researchers have demonstrated the effectiveness of gum resin extract of Guggul against a range of bacteria, including staph bacteria that cause staph infections, E. coli, which I go through in depth the last 3 years on how shedding from the vaccinated, they use E. coli bacteria to do that, which cause GI intestinal problems like diarrhea, as well as fever, nausea, and vomiting. Guggul is also anti-helminthic. Helminths, by the way, are worms, parasitic worms, tapeworms and roundworms. As you see in the last part of the sentence, it helps you fight off infections of intestinal worms. Did you know Guggul counters skin problems like wrinkles and acne? I introduced that at the beginning of the show. Lab studies show that Guggul extracts can not only boost the production of type 1 collagen in your skin, if you want anti-aging, Guggul does it, which strengthens skin cells, but also reduces the production of enzymes that damage your skin. It can help your skin look smooth and supple and reduce the depth of both small and large wrinkles. This anti-inflammatory and antioxidant herbal medicine can also help with acne, which is why it's in my Nature Wins Clear Skin Complex. When these extracts were given to test subjects, humans, with nodulocystic acne for 3 months, the lesions progressively reduced. The remedy was also found to be more effective than antibiotic remedy tetracycline for those with oily skin. Almost everybody with acne is put on tetracycline, an antibiotic. Did you know that Guggul steroids actually was found to be almost 500 times more potent than tetracycline? Actually, in that study, they took 25 milligrams of Guggul sterone and compared that to 500 milligrams of tetracycline, and Guggul sterone still outbeat its ability to clear acne better than the drug. So maybe that's not 500 times. Was 25 into 500. That's a lot. All right, so 25 milligrams versus 500 milligrams of a drug, and it still beat it. Number 6, it eases canker sores and gingivitis. To treat any superficial wounds, mix a half a cup of warm water with a crushed Guggul lipid tablet and apply topically. This helps wound healing. If you have painful canker sores in your mouth or suffer from gingivitis or early gum disease, Guggul is worth a try thanks to its anti-inflammatory and antibacterial activity. Guggul also boosts metabolism and fights obesity. I'm about to show you the real-world numbers on how the waist reduces in size just in a few weeks of using Guggul extract and what's called a Skinfold test. You'll learn here in just a minute. Guggul acts on multiple fronts to help your metabolism, which helps you burn fat. It boosts thyroid function, revs up digestion, and improves your metabolism. What's more, it prevents the conversion of undigested carbohydrates into triglycerides, and it lowers blood cholesterol. It also counters oxidative stress and inflammation associated with obesity. If you wondered why CardioFlow is such an important product and why it's been out of stock for a little while, and it might be periodically, is because so many people love the heart benefits and see it, and then all these other massive improvements in their health. Guggul steroids also protects the brain and fights Alzheimer's disease. Studies show that Guggul's bioactive component, Guggul sterone, can enhance cognitive ability, your brain function. It's neuroprotective and may be able to help those with memory deficits or learning impairment, making it a promising alternative remedy for dementia. Somebody should have called Joe Biden and made sure he had Guggul steroids and my CardioFlow. Guggul's neuroprotective features could extend to help those with epilepsy, paralysis, and polyneuropathy. In Alzheimer's, there's something called amyloid plaques. That's what they see in the brain. And they blame all your dementia and your worsening symptoms of Alzheimer's on these amyloid plaque formations. Did you know Guggul steroids prevents it? Amyloid precursor protein is a risk factor for Alzheimer's. High cholesterol levels may have a role to play in this amyloid precursor protein processing. But Guggul can help fight this because of its cholesterol lowering and antioxidant properties. Guggul also helps counter the enzyme acetylcholine esterase, which breaks down acetylcholine. And anybody paying attention to COVID, that's how COVID symptoms were created, by blocking acetylcholine with spike proteins that were identical to venom, and other neurotransmitters, and impairs learning and memory. Guggul steroids also helps blood glucose control in diabetics. Guggul plays a role in both glucose, blood sugar, and lipid fats metabolism, making it a promising remedy for controlling blood sugar levels. Guggul resin extract could help lower levels of elevated blood sugar as well as glycosylated hemoglobin called A1C, another indicator of diabetes. So if you know anybody that has hemoglobin A1C at high levels over several months and they have diabetes, you might want to tell them to try CardioFlow, Guggul sterone, or go get a supplement of Guggul sterone alone, or Guggul lipid extract anywhere online. So the last statement reads, therefore, Guggul sterone holds potential for diabetics who want to achieve better blood sugar control. Animal studies, and remember, animal studies, they study everything in animals before humans, because in mice, rats, rabbits, ferrets, they all have the same genes we do, and they publish. It's going to happen in an animal. It's going to happen in a human. Studies have also shown that Guggul steroids in Guggul can improve insulin production. Couple this with its ability to help with obesity and lower cholesterol levels, both which are risk factors for diabetes, and the case for Guggul becomes stronger. Guggul also improves thyroid function. Well, how many millions of women and men have thyroid problems? Have you seen the waistlines of many Americans? They have thyroid problems and metabolism problems. By aiding thyroid function, Guggul also indirectly helps arrest hair loss and premature graying of your hair. Notice my hair is not very gray. I'm also not very old. Studies show that Guggul can help treat autoimmune-linked thyroid problems, autoimmune thyroid problems, Hashimoto's, Graves' disease people, by increasing T3 concentration. It also could stimulate the conversion of thyroid hormone T4 to T3. As another animal study found a compound called ketosteroid in Guggul exhibits strong thyroid stimulatory action, turns on the thyroid, aiding the thyroid's iodine uptake and boosting the activity of enzymes linked to thyroid activity. You've heard me educate many people on the benefits of selenium and iodine when it comes to thyroid hormone production. You have to have it. Now you're learning here that the first ingredient in CardioFlow will help your body absorb iodine into the thyroid to improve your thyroid's function. This is a clinical study. We're going to now dive into the research studies where I'm going to show you the evidence of what I just highlighted or benefits of Guggul steroids in Guggul. This is a clinical study to evaluate the efficacy of a herbal formula for obesity. That's primary ingredient is Guggul steroids. And they call it HFO02 in overweight individuals. These were the eligibility criteria for the people included in this study. Overweight individuals of either sex, and they were going to check their BMI. The BMI had to be above 25 and less than 30. They were given 2 tablets of this herbal mix with Guggul steroids. 500 milligrams were given orally twice a day before meals with water for a duration of 90 days or 3 months. Guggul at 50 milligrams of this complex was included. And after 90 days of the period of the research study, those in the study were followed for another 30 days to assess did they rebound weight gain or any additional weight loss. So the total duration of the study was actually 4 months or 120 days. 500 milligrams of this, 50 milligrams only of Guggul twice a day. BMI was calculated. That's how they calculated it. Their waist to hip ratio was calculated by dividing WC by HC. Skin fold thickness were measured on the waist hip ratio is what WHR is. Skin fold thickness were measured on the right side of the body using Harpenden skin fold caliber following standard protocol. Now, I have to explain to you why the skin fold test is so significant. Do you know how many people get excited when they can't tell they're losing weight, but they can tell changes in their waist size, their forearm thickness, their thigh thickness, and clothes is fitting differently? That's one of the things most people get excited about first. Well, wait till you see the skin fold test reactions of just using Guggul steroids as a part of an herbal remedy to lower obesity. The participants were then provided with the study drug and asked to report at a study site every 15 days. And you'll see, for example, on days 15, 30, 45, 60, 75, 90, they were going to be weighed, BMI measured, and their skin fold test determined. The treatment was stopped on day 90, and then the participants were called for a last follow-up on day 120. There was a total of 18 people in the study, of which 14, 6 males and 8, completed the entire study. The circumferential measurements of the waist, hip, and neck, so measuring all around the neck, hips, and waist, showed gradual reduction throughout the study period, which was statistically significant on day 90. So within 3 months, they saw a very significant difference, and it was measurable in the circumference of the neck, waist, and thighs. The significant decrease in waist and hip did not reflect in corresponding decrease in waist to hip ratio. So they saw a waist and hip improvement individually, but not really so much in both cases on everybody. The other circumferential measurements, although showed reduction, but did not reach to statistical significance. All the skin fold thicknesses showed gradual decrease during the study period, and that was statistically significant on both day 90 and 120 as compared to day 0 when they started. There was a steady decrease also in the values of C-reactive protein till day 90 during treatment. Remember, they stopped taking on day 90. Do you know what C-reactive protein is? This is one of the things they're looking for in your blood if they think someone's had a heart attack. They're looking for this inflammatory protein called C-reactive protein. This means somebody has inflammation, but the level of this stuff, C-reactive protein, CRP, you see on your blood work, actually helps doctors know and estimate when it was you had a heart attack if you weren't even aware you had one. So they saw a steady decrease every single day of this inflammatory marker that's indicative in heart disease or already had a heart attack or stroke. They saw that go down every single day or every period they measured for 90 days of taking this substance. Here's the effect of this herbal remedy with Guggul steroids. They're on all their measurements. So you're going to see day 0, day 30, day 60, day 90, day 120, each of those measurements. I'm going to highlight some of the most incredible changes in these individual measurements for just 30 days and 120 days of this study. Let's look at the waist circumference. Look at this. On day 0, they saw an average size of 98 inches or centimeters or whatever the measurement is. The average was 98. By day 30, the average went to 98.42. Then by day 60, it was 96.67. Could you imagine seeing a decrease by that amount in 2 months? By day 90, it was 96. And then by day 120, it still went down another inch or so to 95, from 98 to 95. That's their waist circumference. Look at their neck. From day 0 to day 120. They saw a reduction by 2 centimeters also. And then let's go here to further parameters. Let's look at skin fold thickness. Look at those numbers. The biceps, the triceps, the subscapular. These are all in millimeter measurements. And the suprailiac in the waistline. Look at these numbers, just using Guggul steroids in this herbal complex for 90 days. From day 0, you'll see the biceps was 116. It went down to 99 by day 120 in millimeter measurements. The triceps shrunk from 236 to 222. That's actually 14 millimeters. Well, how do your shirts fit? Subscapular, around the shoulders, 328 to 300. They lost 28 millimeters of measurement. And then look at the suprailiac. This is in your waist. It went from 215 to 198. That's a reduction in 17 millimeters. Well, if your belt or your pants don't fit very well, you might want to consider Guggul steroid. This is the skin fold test, and I'm just going to show you. This is a 2-minute video just explaining to you what this test is. I want you to see so you know what you're looking at.